Welcome back to another Jay's Call Luck video. Today, we're moving on with my final review for the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 wave. Here we have Groot, and he's in a deluxe box, so he was not part of the single pack releases. I guess technically he is a single pack, but he's not part of the mainline Build-A-Figure release, and he was not the Build-A-Figure for this wave, even though, in my opinion, he probably should have been. But anyway, with that all down, let's take a look at the package here. You gotta look at Groot on the front of the box store. Of course, this is during the 2023 plastic-free packaging era. You gotta look at the Legends logo on top and Groot's title on top as well. You got the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 logo on the bottom right there. Turning to this side here, you got a shot of Groot right there. If you take a look at this side, you got another shot of him with all the accessories. And then we got another shot of Groot with a little rocket by his feet, which is really cute and adorable. And then we turn to the side here, up to the top, you gotta look at the same logo like all the other boxes in the line. So let's look at this deluxe box for Groot. Let's now take a look at all those accessories. Okay, so starting off with accessories here, I thought I'd show the hands one at a time because the left hand here is just painted all brown. Has like a little bit of wood texture to it since he's made out of wood. But the other hand here has some green on the side here. If I turn it this way, you got some green on this side, and then you got brown for the rest of it on this portion of it. But then if we turn to the inside of the hand, there's a little bit of green paint detailing right there. So that's nice that they painted the inside of the hand right there just a little bit with the green, I guess, foliage. It's kind of confusing why they didn't do the same for this one. So I don't know, it's interesting. I'll put it that way. But that's a look at those hand accessories. We now move on to this other tiny accessory here. We got a little baby rocket. Actually, let me zoom in quite a bit. He's a lot smaller than I thought. Here we go. Hopefully he's all in focus. But we got to look at little baby rocket. You got his tail kind of curled up by his side right there. And it's really nice little accessory. Of course, it was in the film. Quite emotional parts for the film, I think, for some people. But yeah, it's a nice little accessory. Didn't really expect to get it till it was revealed all those years ago. And it's a nice little add-on for Groot and everything. Anyway, that's a look at that accessory. Let's now move on to the wings for Groot. And then we have his wing pieces here, which have some nice green paint detailing throughout it. Although in the movie, it had more like leaves throughout the wing, and this just has some green paint. So I guess that's supposed to represent the foliage there, but it had more leaves on it compared to this. But the texturing of it had, again, that wooden texturing like throughout the entire Groot. And this has this little piece that can port into the other wing piece. If I grab it over here, it has like a little backpack connection that you can port into the back of Groot right there. And then again, this wing has, I think, the same detailing with the green throughout the wings and everything. Same on this side. So again, just missing all that leaves detailing, but I guess this is what the green paint's supposed to represent. And real quick, if I just pull over this other piece again, we can just port it into the slot like so. And like that, I believe. So we just push it in, and you got the wings all connected in. I'll show you what this looks like at the end of the video with Groot towards my outro. But anyway, that's a look at all the accessories Groot comes with. Let's now take a look at Groot. Taking a look at the head sculpt here. Now for Groot, he has basically two colors. You got the brown for the main body of it, and you got some green paint spread throughout representing the foliage, I believe, for Groot that was in the movie. So you have some of that green paint on the top of his head. You gotta look at the head sculpt here, again, some of that wood kind of texturing and details. And we turn to the back here, you got a little bit of green paint on throughout the head, and again, just the brown for the rest of the head, for the base of it. And now we move down to the rest of the body. Zooming out a bit, you can take a look at the body here. Again, it's basically all that brown color, and then you just got a little bit of green just kind of sprinkled throughout the body there. You got some more of that on the arms here. If I pull the arm up, you got brown and then just some green, a little bit green thing on the upper portion of it. Same for this arm right here. If I pull it up a bit, you can take a look at the arm right there. And you can tell that Groot is kind of a thicker kind of guy here compared to his baby Groot and then teenage Groot. And I think even the original Groot from the first Guardians movie, he has like a very bulky body. So I kind of do like that. I will say that. Taking a look at the back here, you just got a little bit of green paint on the upper portion of the torso, and then the rest of it is brown. And we move on to the legs here. You just got some of that brown paint with some more of that green kind of sprinkled throughout the legs there. You see the legs are actually pretty thick. Given he's a tree, I wonder how heavy those legs actually would be in real life. But you have that. And I will say, there's a little nice foliage or twig here poking out of his arm right there. So that's a neat little detail. I do like that. But other than that, there's not too much else to say about it. I do like the hand sculpts for these ones where they're kind of long and skinny. So you have that. These are probably the hands I'll keep on him at all times for my Groot, at least. So, one more thing I would like to mention before we move on to articulation. I don't really like the shoulder pads. I was testing out the arm articulation earlier, and when I was twisting the arm back, I kind of got it to go all the way, but then it got stuck, and this kind of scares me. I feel like that could pop off real easily, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe it's molded in there where it won't, but just it's something I wanted to note because it's something I noticed while testing out the articulation earlier. But anyway, that's a look at Groot, and speaking of articulation, let's now segue into the articulation segment. Taking a look at Groot's articulation, you can turn his head around 360 degrees like so. He can look down that far, so pretty good. He can look up that far, so just a little bit, and there's no real side-to-side motion there. Now for the arms here, you're able to turn this far up, but then the shoulder pads here, I guess they're not really shoulder pads or the shoulder things on his arms, but kind of hinders it. Now you could turn it if you want, but I'm not going to, like I mentioned a few moments ago, but I will show you how far it turns back if you want. So it can go back that far, but again, you could force it if you want. For this arm here, it should be the same thing, so we just pull it up that far, and then you can pull back that far, and you can bend at the elbow like so, twist at the hand, and then there's some wrist articulation. So I like that, and it's going to be the same for this arm as well. So bend at the elbow like so, twist at the hand, got some wrist articulation, and that's that. One thing I forgot to say actually in the review segment, sorry about this, there is a hole on the back for Groot to port in the wings, and I will say, I feel like out of all the other characters who have holes on the back to port capes or accessories, backpack, wings, I feel like this one, it's hidden a bit well compared to others. Maybe you can see the hole, but it's not as noticeable, in my opinion, compared to other ones we've seen with other characters. I just want to point that out real quick. Now, moving back into our articulation segment, you can turn at the waist like so. He can bend back a bit. He can bend forward just barely any. There's a little bit, but just barely any. And kind of the same with going back now that I think about it. So that's something to note. And he does go side to side just a little bit. He can kick up that far, bend at the knee like so, bend at the foot, bend that far up, and then he can go side to side. And then it should be the same for this leg right here, where you can kick up that far, bend at the knee like so, bend at the foot, bend that far up, and then he can do splits like this. So pretty good articulation besides, I guess, the waist and the head. But that's a look at all that. Let me grab his wings real quick before we move out to our last segment. There goes Groot. So we're just going to port these wings in. So I already have a build from earlier in the video. So you just got to line it up with the hole back here. And just port it in like so. And there you go. You got his giant wooden wings. So let me zoom out, get him in pose, and take a look at my final thoughts in the outro. Well, there you go, everyone. That's my review for today of Marvel Legends Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Groot. I gotta say, this one surprised me. I'm actually quite happy with how he turned out. Again, you just got some missing leaves for the wings, but other than that, I like it. I like how the wings look on him. I like the little baby rocket accessory. I mean, I already liked it at the beginning, like the video, and I had it for all these years, but after reviewing it, I will say it impressed me a bit more, kind of like Adam Warlock, so I can't wait to see where he ranks in my ranking. Speaking of the ranking, keep an eye out for the ranking video that will come out here in a few days, I believe, from this video. That's our next segment in this little series, and then we move on to random Marvel Legends in my collection that have no Build-A-Figure series or characters to complete the Build-A-Figure. It's basically random Marvel Legend videos. Well, you'll see. Anyway, with that all down, I hope you all have a good rest of your day and take care. Perfect timing to end the video. Anyway, take care.